Imagine a city smaller than many neighborhoods, yet holding treasures that have shaped the world for centuries. A place where every stone, every corridor, and every brushstroke tells a story of faith, art, and human ambition. Welcome to Vatican City, the spiritual heart of the Catholic Church, the guardian of timeless masterpieces and a symbol of influence that reaches across continents. From the towering domes of St. Peter's Basilica to the hidden sanctuaries of the Vatican Gardens, this is a journey into a realm where history, devotion, and artistry converge in ways you've never seen before. Get ready to explore the wonders, secrets, and hidden life of the world's smallest yet most extraordinary country. There is a place so small it can disappear on a map, yet so powerful that it has shaped the thoughts, faith, art, and history of billions of people across centuries. A country measured not by land, but by influence. A place where every stone carries belief, every corridor echoes with history, and every step feels heavier with meaning. This is Vatican City, the smallest nation on Earth, and one of the most extraordinary places humanity has ever created. At first glance, it seems impossible. How could less than half a square kilometer hold such global weight? How could a city smaller than most neighborhoods command spiritual authority, preserve the world's greatest art, and stand at the center of centuries of global history? Yet the moment you approach Vatican City, the answer begins to reveal itself. This is not a place built for size. It is a place built for eternity. Vatican City rises quietly within Rome, almost hidden, yet unmistakable. Its walls do not shout power, but protect it. Behind them lies a world shaped by faith, devotion, and human ambition. For nearly 2,000 years, this tiny state has stood as the heart of the Catholic Church, guiding belief, influencing kings and nations, and shaping the moral conversation of the world. The story of Vatican City begins long before it became a country. It begins with belief, with the early Christians who followed teachings that would change civilization forever. With persecution, sacrifice, and unwavering faith. Tradition holds that St. Peter, one of the closest followers of Jesus, was buried here after his martyrdom. Over his resting place, a simple shrine emerged. Over centuries, that shrine became a basilica. And around that basilica, a city was born. But Vatican City is more than a religious center. It is a living archive of human achievement. Here, faith and art are inseparable. Painters, sculptors, architects, and thinkers were drawn to this place not only by devotion, but by the opportunity to express humanity's highest ideals. The result is a concentration of beauty unmatched anywhere on Earth. Every surface tells a story. Walls become canvases. Ceilings become visions of heaven. Stone transforms into emotion. Art in Vatican City is not decoration. It is theology made visible. It is belief translated into color, form, and light. Each masterpiece speaks across centuries, reminding us that humans have always searched for meaning beyond themselves. Despite its grandeur, Vatican City is deeply personal. Millions of visitors arrive each year from every corner of the world, carrying hopes, questions, gratitude, and doubt. Some come as pilgrims seeking spiritual connection. Others come as travelers drawn by history and beauty. Yet, regardless of why they arrive, most leave changed in some way. The atmosphere here encourages reflection. Silence feels louder, time feels slower, meaning feels closer. What makes Vatican City truly remarkable is not what it displays, but what it represents. It is proof that ideas can outlive empires, that belief can shape stone, that art can preserve faith, and faith can inspire art. This tiny nation has witnessed wars, revolutions, and the rise and fall of civilizations, yet it remains steady and watchful, adapting while holding firmly to its core identity. Vatican City also embodies contradiction. It is ancient, yet active, sacred, yet administrative, isolated, yet globally connected. Decisions made within its walls can influence millions beyond them. A message spoken here can echo across continents. This balance between tradition and relevance is part of its enduring power. As you stand at the edge of Vatican City, you are not simply entering a destination. You are stepping into a story that is still being written. A story shaped by belief, creativity, conflict, and hope. A story that belongs not only to the faithful, but to anyone who has ever wondered how humanity searches for meaning. This journey through Vatican City is not about distance traveled, but depth explored. It is about understanding how something so small can hold something so vast. And as we begin, one truth becomes clear. Vatican City does not measure itself in kilometers or borders. It measures itself in impact, in history, in faith, and in the timeless human desire to reach for something greater than ourselves. Before you ever cross a doorway or enter a building, Vatican City makes its first and most powerful statement in the open air. A space so vast it humbles, yet so welcoming it embraces. A place designed not just to impress the eye, but to move the soul. This is Street, Peter's Square, the ceremonial heart of Vatican City, and one of the most symbolically charged spaces on Earth. The moment you step into the square, scale becomes emotional. The openness is deliberate. The ground stretches wide, framed by sweeping colonnades that curve gently around you, as if the city itself is opening its arms. These columns do not intimidate. They protect. They invite. They represent the church reaching outward to humanity, a physical expression of inclusion, guidance, and unity. Designed in the 17th century, Street Peter's Square was crafted with intention far beyond aesthetics. Every line, curve, and proportion serves a message. The elliptical shape draws people inward, focusing attention toward the Basilica, while allowing space for the world to gather. This is not a square meant for solitude. It is a square meant for millions, a place where individuals become part of something far greater than themselves. At the center stands an ancient obelisk, older than Christianity itself. It once stood in Egypt, witnessed empires rise and fall, and was later brought here to become a silent witness to faith's endurance. Around it, the stones of the square radiate outward like ripples, marking a meeting point between past and present, belief and history. It reminds every visitor that Vatican City does not erase history. It absorbs it. Street Peter's Square has seen moments that shaped the world, papal blessings that reached across continents, celebrations filled with joy and song, gatherings marked by grief, prayer, and unity. In times of crisis and hope alike, this space has drawn humanity together. It is here that belief becomes visible, not as an abstract idea, but as a shared experience. Yet, even when empty, the square speaks. Early mornings bring quiet footsteps and long shadows. The silence feels intentional, almost sacred. Without crowds, the architecture reveals its balance and harmony. The square becomes a place for reflection, where the weight of history feels close, but not overwhelming. It invites thought rather than demands it. What makes Street Peter's Square extraordinary is its ability to hold contradiction. It is grand yet human, formal yet emotional, public yet deeply personal. For some, it is a place of lifelong pilgrimage. For others, a moment of curiosity. But regardless of purpose, the experience feels meaningful. Something here lingers. The square also represents Vatican City's unique role in the world. It is not a fortress closed to outsiders. It is a threshold, a place where faith meets culture, where tradition meets the modern world. Cameras, languages, and faces from every nation fill the space daily. In this small country, the world gathers. Light transforms the square throughout the day. Morning sun sharpens the lines of the colonnades. Midday brightness fills the space with energy. Evening softens everything, bathing stone in warm tones that feel almost timeless. As the sky darkens, lights emerge, and the square takes on a quiet reverence that feels intimate despite its size. Standing here, you begin to understand Vatican City's power. It is not enforced. It is invited. It does not demand attention. It earns it through symbolism, history, and presence. Street Peter's Square does not simply lead to the Vatican. It prepares you for it. This space teaches a lesson before a single word is spoken or a single artwork is seen. It teaches that belief can be expressed through design, that unity can be shaped in stone, and that a place does not need size to feel infinite. As you move forward toward the Basilica, rising beyond the square, you carry this feeling with you. The sense that you are stepping into something larger than architecture, larger than religion alone. You are stepping into a conversation that has been ongoing for centuries, one that begins here, in the open arms of Street Peter's Square. There are buildings that impress the eye, and then there are places that overwhelm the spirit. Street Peter's Basilica belongs to the latter. From the moment it rises into view, dominating the horizon of Vatican City, it feels less like a structure and more like a declaration. A declaration of faith, human ambition, artistic genius, and the enduring desire to touch the divine. As you approach the Basilica, its sheer scale becomes impossible to ignore. It is one of the largest churches on earth, yet its size never feels empty or excessive. Every proportion is deliberate, every surface designed to guide the eye upward and inward. The facade stands with quiet authority, not shouting its importance, but fully aware of it. This is not a place built to follow trends or time. It was built to outlast them. Crossing the threshold is a moment many never forget. The interior opens suddenly, and with it comes a sense of awe that words struggle to contain. Space expands in every direction. Light filters softly through high windows, illuminating marble, gold, and stone in a way that feels almost intentional, as if guided rather than accidental. Sound changes here. Footsteps soften, voices lower. Even the most talkative visitors instinctively fall quiet. St. Peter's Basilica is not just large. It is layered with meaning. Every altar, statue, and chapel tells a story of belief, sacrifice, and devotion. Art is everywhere, yet nothing feels decorative. Each piece exists to communicate something deeper. Faith here is not hidden. It is carved, painted, and built into the very structure. At the heart of the Basilica stands one of the most powerful sculptures ever created. Michelangelo's Pietà captures a moment of grief, so intimate, it feels almost intrusive to witness. Mary holds the body of her son, not with dramatic movement, but with quiet acceptance. The marble appears soft, almost alive. It is a reminder that faith is not only about glory and resurrection, but about sorrow, loss, and love. Many visitors find themselves standing before it longer than expected, drawn into its silence. Above, the vast dome rises like a bridge between earth and heaven. Designed by Michelangelo and completed by others, it crowns the basilica with balance and grace. Looking up, the scale becomes humbling. The dome does not crush the viewer, it lifts them. Light pours down from above, reinforcing the idea that this space is meant to elevate the spirit as much as the body. The basilica is built upon tradition, believed to be sacred. Beneath the high altar lies the tomb of St. Peter himself, the fisherman who became a foundation of the church. This physical connection to the earliest days of Christianity gives the basilica its profound gravity. It is not only a monument to belief, but a continuation of it. Despite its grandeur, St. Peter's Basilica remains deeply human. Pilgrims kneel in prayer. Visitors pause in reflection. Some come seeking answers. Others come simply to feel something beyond routine life. The Basilica accommodates all of them. It does not demand belief. It offers space for contemplation. Centuries of history echo through these walls. Popes have been crowned here. Moments of celebration and mourning have unfolded beneath this ceiling. Wars have raged outside while this space endured, steady and watchful. Time moves differently inside St. Peter's Basilica. The modern world feels distant, as if temporarily paused. What makes this place extraordinary is not just its artistic brilliance or religious importance, but its emotional power. It reminds visitors that humans are capable of creating beauty on a scale that transcends generations. That belief, when combined with creativity, can produce something timeless. As you stand within St. Peter's Basilica, you realize that this is more than a church. It is a symbol of faith that endures, of art that speaks across centuries, of humanity's desire to reach beyond itself. When you eventually step back into the light of the square, the feeling lingers. Something here stays with you, not as memory alone, but as presence. There is a place within Vatican City where time does not move forward in a straight line. Instead, it layers itself, century upon century, idea upon idea, until human history feels almost within reach. The Vatican Museums are not simply galleries of art. They are a journey through the mind, ambition, and imagination of civilization itself. From the moment you enter, scale becomes overwhelming. Corridor after corridor unfolds, each filled with works that shaped how humanity understands beauty, power, and meaning. These halls were not created to entertain. They were created to preserve thought, belief, and culture across generations. What you walk through here is not a collection. It is a legacy. The Vatican Museums began as private collections, gathered by popes who believed art was more than decoration. It was a language capable of expressing faith, philosophy, and identity. Over centuries, sculptures, paintings, tapestries, and artifacts were brought here from across Europe and beyond. Each piece carries the weight of the era that produced it, offering insight into how people once saw the world and their place within it. Ancient sculptures greet visitors early in the journey. Faces carved thousands of years ago still hold expression, tension, and emotion. These figures remind us that long before modern nations existed, humans were already asking the same questions about existence, beauty, and purpose. In these silent forms, history feels alive. As you move deeper, the museums shift from ancient worlds into the Renaissance, an era when art and human potential exploded into new expression. Walls become stories, ceilings become visions, color, proportion, and movement take on philosophical meaning. Artists here were not simply painting scenes, they were redefining how humanity saw itself in relation to the divine. One of the most striking aspects of the Vatican Museums is how art and power intertwine. These spaces were shaped by belief, but also by influence. Popes commissioned works that reflected authority, wisdom, and continuity. Yet the artists who answered that call infused their work with humanity, doubt, emotion, and brilliance. The result is art that transcends its original purpose. Walking these halls, you feel the tension between control and creativity, faith and freedom. It is this tension that gives the museums their energy. Every room reveals a different voice. Some speak of devotion, others of ambition, others still of rebellion disguised as beauty. Lights plays a vital role here. Natural and artificial illumination reveal details slowly, encouraging patience. Nothing is meant to be rushed. The museums reward those who observe closely. A gesture in a painted hand, a glance in a sculpted face. Small details carry enormous meaning. Despite the fame of certain masterpieces, the true power of the Vatican Museums lies in their continuity. Thousands of works exist side by side, creating a dialogue across centuries. An ancient statue influences a Renaissance painter. A medieval tapestry echoes classical ideals. The past constantly informs the present. Visitors arrive from every culture, language, and belief system. Some come seeking faith. Others come seeking knowledge. Many come simply to witness greatness, yet all share the same reaction at some point: silence, the realization that humanity has always been capable of extraordinary creativity. The Vatican Museums also represent preservation against time. Wars, revolutions, and destruction have claimed countless works of art across history. What survives here does so because someone believed it mattered enough to protect. These museums stand as a reminder that culture can be fragile, but it can also endure when guarded with intention. As you walk toward the end of the museums, a feeling begins to settle in. You are not just moving through rooms, you are moving through ideas, through centuries of belief, doubt, ambition, and hope. Each artwork adds another layer to the story of humanity. The Vatican Museums do not offer easy answers. They offer perspective. They remind us that creativity is one of humanity's greatest strengths, and that beauty has always been a bridge between the human and the divine. When you finally step out of these halls, the world outside feels slightly different, quieter, more thoughtful. The images remain in your mind, not as objects, but as conversations that continue long after you leave. There is a single room in Vatican City that has shaped how the world understands art, faith, and human imagination. A space so famous that its images live in memory long before it is ever seen in person. Yeah, no photograph, no book, no screen can truly prepare you for the moment you step inside the Sistine Chapel. At first, the space feels smaller than expected. Then you look up, and everything changes. The ceiling unfolds like a universe suspended above you. Figures stretch across the sky, alive with movement, emotion, and purpose. This is not decoration. It is a story written in paint, told across centuries, and carried by one man's vision. Michelangelo did not simply paint a ceiling. He created a world. The scenes above depict creation, humanity, struggle, and destiny. God reaches toward Adam, fingers nearly touching, capturing the exact moment between existence and potential. It is one of the most recognized images in human history, Yet standing beneath it, the moment feels new, intimate, powerful, as if time pauses just long enough for you to feel the weight of that gesture. What makes the Sistine Chapel extraordinary is not only its beauty, but its depth. Every figure carries emotion. Every posture communicates tension, hope, or suffering. Michelangelo filled the ceiling with strength and vulnerability, showing humanity not as perfect, but as searching. Muscles strained, faces reflect doubt and determination. Divinity here is not distant, it is engaged. The scale of the achievement becomes even more remarkable when you understand the conditions under which it was created. Michelangelo was not primarily a painter. He worked for years in physical agony, painting overhead, pushing his body and mind to their limits. Yet what emerged from that struggle is not chaos, but harmony. Pain became purpose. Along the walls, the narrative continues. Stories of prophets and ancestors surround you, anchoring the ceiling's visions in history and tradition. These figures act as witnesses, bridging heaven and earth, belief and reality. They watch silently as generations pass beneath them. At the far end of the chapel stands another powerful work, The Last Judgment. Here, Michelangelo presents a dramatic vision of humanity's fate. The energy is intense. Bodies rise and fall. Emotion fills every inch. This is not a gentle scene. It confronts the viewer with consequence, accountability, and transformation. It demands reflection. Despite its fame, the Sistine Chapel remains a place of purpose. It is here that papal conclaves are held, where decisions shaping the future of the Church are made. In these moments, art becomes witness. The ceiling watches as history continues to unfold beneath it. This dual role, as both masterpiece and living institution, gives the chapel its unique power. Silence dominates the room, not because it is enforced, but because it feels necessary. Voices naturally lower, movement slows. The space commands respect without asking for it. In that silence, the connection between viewer and artwork deepens. What the Sistine Chapel ultimately reveals is humanity's capacity to imagine beyond limitation. It is a reminder that belief can inspire greatness, and that art can carry meaning across time. Michelangelo's vision continues to speak, not only to the faithful, but to anyone willing to look up and reflect. As you stand there, neck strained, eyes wide, something becomes clear. This is not just a ceiling. It is a conversation between humanity and the infinite, one that has been ongoing for over 500 years. When you finally step away, the images follow you. They linger in thought and feeling. The Sistine Chapel does not end at the door. It stays with you, reminding you of what humans can create when imagination, struggle, and purpose collide. Beyond the grand halls, towering domes, and crowded museums of Vatican City lies a world few ever truly experience. A place hidden behind walls, guarded not by secrecy, but by serenity. This is the Vatican Gardens, where silence speaks louder than ceremony, and nature becomes a quiet partner to faith. Stepping into the gardens feels like crossing an invisible threshold. The noise of the outside world fades almost instantly. Footsteps soften, voices lower, time slows. Here, Vatican City reveals a different identity, one shaped not by crowds or monuments, but by balance, reflection, and calm. The gardens cover nearly half of Vatican City, yet remain unseen by most visitors. Winding paths lead through carefully arranged landscapes, fountains, and shaded corners that feel untouched by urgency. Every element is deliberate, yet nothing feels forced. Nature is not displayed here. It is honored. Trees from across the world grow side by side, symbolizing unity beyond borders. Flowers bloom in seasonal rhythm, reminding visitors that even in a place defined by tradition, change is natural and necessary. The gardens are alive, evolving quietly as they have for centuries. Fountains murmur softly, their sound blending with birdsong and wind through leaves. Water here is not dramatic. It soothes, it reflects, it becomes part of the environment rather than dominating it. In this space, grandeur gives way to harmony. Throughout the gardens, small chapels, statues, and sacred symbols appear almost unexpectedly. They do not interrupt the landscape. They belong to it. Faith here is not proclaimed. It is integrated. The gardens suggest that spirituality does not always require walls or ceilings. Sometimes, it exists most clearly in open air. Historically, these gardens served as a place of retreat and contemplation for popes and clergy. Decisions that influenced millions were often considered while walking these paths. The quiet allowed for clarity. The beauty encouraged humility. Even power needed space to breathe. What makes the Vatican Gardens especially meaningful is their contrast with the rest of the city. Outside, Vatican City represents authority, tradition, and global presence. Inside the gardens, it represents vulnerability, stillness, and humanity. This balance is essential. Without it, the grandeur would feel hollow. Light filters differently here. Sunbeams break through branches, creating patterns that shift with the day. Shadows stretch and retreat. Nothing remains static. The gardens remind visitors that life, even within sacred walls, is dynamic. Despite their tranquility, the gardens are not empty. They are filled with intention. Every path suggests movement. Every bench invites pause. Every view encourages reflection. It is a place where thought deepens and distractions dissolve. Few places on earth combine power and peace so seamlessly. The Vatican Gardens demonstrate that strength does not always come from visibility. Sometimes it comes from restraint, from knowing when to step back, listen, and reflect. As you walk through these gardens, the meaning of Vatican City expands. It is no longer just a center of religion or art. It becomes a living organism, capable of stillness as much as ceremony, capable of silence as much as proclamation. Leaving the gardens, the noise of the outside world slowly returns, but something remains, a sense of balance. A reminder that even the most influential places in human history require moments of quiet to endure. The Vatican Gardens are not simply beautiful, they are necessary. They are the breath between words, the pause between thoughts, and in that pause, Vatican City reveals one of its most profound truths, that reflection is as powerful as expression. Hidden behind guarded doors, in quiet corridors, lies one of the most powerful centers of knowledge on Earth. A place where words carry as much weight as stone, and where centuries of human thought are preserved with near reverence. This is the Vatican Apostolic Library and the archives that support it, a realm where history is not displayed loudly, but protected carefully. At first, it feels almost unreal that such an immense collection exists within the world's smallest country. Shelves stretch endlessly, holding manuscripts older than many nations themselves. These are not just books, they are witnesses. Each page has survived time, conflict, and decay to carry ideas forward into the present. The Vatican Library was founded to preserve knowledge, not control it. Its purpose has always been continuity. Within its walls rest ancient texts on theology, philosophy, science, astronomy, law, and literature. Some are handwritten in fading ink. Others are illuminated with gold and color, crafted with patience and devotion. Together, they form a bridge between civilizations. Languages from lost empires rest here side by side. Greek, Latin, Hebrew, Arabic, and countless others speak silently across centuries. These texts reveal a truth often forgotten, that human knowledge has always been interconnected. Ideas traveled across borders long before modern maps existed. The Vatican became a guardian of that shared inheritance. The archives, often misunderstood and mythologized, are not a place of dark secrets, but of careful preservation. Their purpose is protection, not mystery. Documents here record moments that shape the world. Treaties, correspondence, declarations, and reflections from centuries of leadership. Each record offers context rather than spectacle. Access is limited, not to hide history, but to protect it. Fragile materials require controlled environments and responsible handling. Scholars who enter do so with respect, understanding that one careless moment could erase irreplaceable knowledge. Silence here is not enforced, it is earned. What makes these collections extraordinary is their humanity. These texts were written by people wrestling with the same questions we ask today. What is truth? What is justice? What is our place in the universe? The centuries separating reader and writer dissolve when thought feels familiar. Despite the age of the materials, the Vatican Library is not frozen in time. Preservation meets innovation. Modern technology works quietly alongside ancient parchment, digitizing texts to ensure access. without risk. Tradition adapts to survive, proving that reverence and progress can coexist. The atmosphere within these halls feels different from anywhere else in Vatican City. It is not ceremonial, it is contemplative. Knowledge here does not perform, it waits. The weight of history does not overwhelm, it steadies. The library also represents a rare form of power, intellectual responsibility. To preserve ideas is to protect humanity's memory. To safeguard history is to allow future generations to learn from both triumph and failure. The Vatican has taken on this role, not as owner of knowledge, but as its caretaker. Standing near these collections, you feel the fragility of human thought and its incredible resilience. Civilizations rise and fall, buildings collapse, borders change, but ideas, once recorded, can endure far longer than stone. This is the quiet strength of Vatican City. Beyond art and ceremony, it protects humanity's voice across time. In these rooms, history is not distant, it is present, waiting to be understood. As you leave this hidden world, the grandeur of Vatican City takes on new meaning. Its influence does not rest only in visible monuments, but in the careful preservation of memory. Here, knowledge is sacred, and silence becomes a form of respect for everything humanity has ever tried to understand. From within the smallest country on earth emerges a voice that reaches every corner of the globe. A voice not amplified by armies or borders, but by belief, history, and moral authority. This is the power of the Pope and the unique role Vatican City plays on the world stage. At the center of Vatican City stands a figure whose influence extends far beyond religion. The Pope is not only a spiritual leader, but a symbol of continuity stretching back nearly 2,000 years. Each Pope inherits a role shaped by centuries of tradition, responsibility, and expectation. In that continuity lies strength. The Pope's influence is quiet, yet profound. Words spoken from Vatican City are listened to by millions, sometimes billions, regardless of faith. Messages of peace, compassion, and responsibility cross political and cultural boundaries. In a world often divided by power and conflict, this moral voice offers something rare: perspective without force. Vatican City operates as both a spiritual center and a diplomatic presence. It maintains relationships with nations across the globe, often acting as a mediator in times of crisis. These efforts rarely seek attention, they seek resolution. Through dialogue rather than dominance, Vatican City demonstrates a different form of global influence. History reveals moments when papal authority shaped the course of nations. Kings once sought approval, empires negotiated alliances, conflicts paused for counsel. While the world has changed, the underlying role remains. Vatican City stands as a reminder that leadership does not always require control. Sometimes, it requires conscience. The Pope's role is deeply human. Beyond ceremony and tradition lies a responsibility that carries emotional weight. Decisions made here affect communities worldwide. Each message, each action, is considered through the lens of history and impact. This balance between tradition and present reality defines the Vatican's ongoing relevance. Public appearances draw massive crowds, yet the most significant moments often occur away from cameras. Private meetings, written correspondence, and quiet council shape outcomes unseen. Vatican City understands that true influence does not always announce itself. The Pope's residence within Vatican City symbolizes simplicity amid grandeur. While surrounded by history and art, the role emphasizes humility and service. This contrast reinforces the idea that leadership rooted in values can endure longer than leadership rooted in power. Alone. In times of global uncertainty, Vatican City often becomes a place people look toward for moral grounding. Statements addressing human dignity, environmental responsibility, and peace resonate because they appeal to shared values rather than political advantage. This universality gives the Vatican a unique place in modern discourse. Criticism and challenge are not absent. Throughout history, the Church has faced moments of failure and controversy. Yet Vatican City's willingness to confront its past while continuing its mission reflects an understanding that authority must evolve to remain meaningful. What makes the Vatican's influence remarkable is its scale compared to its size. No army defends its reach. No economic dominance enforces its presence. Its power lies in continuity, belief, and the ability to speak to humanity's conscience. Standing within Vatican City, this influence becomes tangible. You sense that decisions made here echo far beyond its walls, that ideas born in quiet rooms can travel farther than any border allows. Vatican City reminds the world that leadership is not always about command. Sometimes it is about guidance, about reminding humanity of its shared responsibility. And in that role, this tiny state continues to shape the global conversation, one voice at a time. Behind the grandeur, ceremony, and global attention lies a quieter reality, a Vatican City that few ever stop to imagine. This is not only a symbol or a destination. It is a functioning country with daily routines, responsibilities, and lives unfolding within its ancient walls. Chapter by chapter of history may define it, but day by day, people keep it alive. Vatican City wakes early, long before crowds gather in street. Peter's Square. Workers move through narrow streets and guarded entrances. Lights turn on in offices. Maintenance teams prepare historic spaces, and clergy begin their daily rituals. Life here follows a rhythm shaped by tradition, but grounded in modern necessity. The Swiss Guard stands as one of the most recognizable symbols of Vatican City. Dressed in their iconic uniforms, they appear ceremonial, almost timeless, yet their role is serious and active. These guards are highly trained professionals, responsible for security within the city. Behind the historic colors lies discipline, vigilance, and responsibility. Beyond security, Vatican City functions through a network of workers who rarely draw attention. Archivists preserve fragile texts. Technicians maintain priceless artworks. Gardeners care for green spaces that offer balance and calm. Administrators manage communications, diplomacy, and daily operations. Each role, though unseen, supports the city's global presence. The population of Vatican City is small, and its sense of community is unique. Residents often know one another. Paths cross daily. Conversations repeat in familiar corridors. This closeness fosters a shared sense of purpose. Every individual understands the responsibility of working within a place that carries global meaning. Despite its sacred identity, Vatican City is not frozen in the past. Technology quietly integrates into daily life. Modern communication systems operate alongside centuries-old walls. Digital preservation protects ancient manuscripts. Cameras monitor historic spaces to ensure safety. The city adapts carefully, balancing preservation with progress. Meals are shared. Offices close. Bells mark time. Life here includes ordinary moments that mirror any other community, yet always under the awareness of where they are. Working in Vatican City is not simply a job. It is participation in an ongoing legacy. Visitors rarely see this side. They pass through curated routes, guided by schedules and ceremonies. Yet, behind closed doors, Vatican City feels human. People hurry to meetings. Files are reviewed. Decisions are debated. The extraordinary is supported by the ordinary. The city also observes moments of quiet. Late evenings bring stillness. Lights soften. The massive spaces feel intimate once crowds depart. In these hours, Vatican City belongs again to those who live and work. It is not sustained by spectacle alone, but by routine, by people who show up each day to ensure that ceremonies occur, art survives, and messages reach the world. This quiet rhythm is what allows Vatican City to endure. Empires fall when daily life collapses. Vatican City survives because it honors the small tasks as much as the monumental ones. As you imagine life within these walls, the city becomes less distant, less symbolic, and more real. It is a place where history lives not only in stone, but in habit, duty, and human presence. And through this daily devotion, Vatican City continues to stand, steady and watchful, at the heart of the world. Vatican City is a place of contrasts. It is the world's smallest country, yet its influence stretches across continents. It is built on centuries of faith and tradition, yet it continues to adapt to the modern era. It is visited by millions each year, yet much of its life remains hidden from view. To understand Vatican City is to understand the delicate balance between the visible and the invisible, the monumental and the personal, the eternal and the fleeting. As you step into this final chapter of our journey, the true essence of Vatican City becomes clear. It is not just the art, architecture, or historical artifacts that make this place extraordinary. It is the interplay of all these elements with human experience. From the soaring domes of St. Peter's Basilica to the quiet paths of the Vatican Gardens, every corner reflects purpose, vision, and devotion. The city is alive with stories of faith, power, artistry, and humanity, each one layered upon the last. One of the most striking aspects of Vatican City is its ability to inspire reflection. Visitors often arrive expecting grandeur or spectacle, but they leave with something deeper, a sense of connection to history, spirituality, and the wider world. Walking through the corridors, squares, and chapels, it is impossible not to feel the weight of generations. Every fresco, sculpture, and architectural line communicates a dialogue between the human and the divine. The spiritual significance of Vatican City is inseparable from its role as a cultural and historical center. St. Peter's Basilica is not just a building. It is a living monument to faith and human achievement. The Sistine Chapel is more than a gallery. It is a narrative of creation, struggle, and aspiration. The Vatican Museums are not merely collections. They are repositories of collective memory, preserving the achievements and knowledge of countless generations. Each of these elements reinforces the other, creating a unique ecosystem of influence and inspiration. Vatican City also demonstrates the power of vision and continuity. The city has endured centuries of political change, wars, and societal shifts, yet it remains steadfast in its purpose. Its leaders have understood that the strength of a nation lies not only in its borders or wealth, but in its ability to sustain ideas, culture, and belief over time. This is evident in the careful preservation of art, archives, and architecture, but it is also evident in the daily life of those who maintain the city's functions, from clergy to Swiss guards, gardeners to archivists. The impact of Vatican City extends far beyond its walls. Decisions made here can influence millions of lives worldwide. Messages of peace, justice, and human dignity resonate across continents. The Pope's voice, amplified through centuries of tradition and global communication, reaches people from diverse cultures and beliefs. This combination of spiritual authority and practical influence is rare and enduring, giving Vatican City a significance that belies its size. Equally important is the city's human element. While the architecture and art command attention, it is the people, the leaders, workers, and pilgrims who give Vatican City life. Their devotion, care, and continuity ensure that the city is not merely a museum, but a functioning, living place. The quiet dedication behind the scenes allows the monumental spaces to exist, preserved for future generations to experience and learn from. As our journey through Vatican City concludes, it is impossible not to feel a sense of reverence. The city exemplifies the power of faith, creativity, and stewardship. It reminds us that influence is not measured by land or population, but by vision, impact, and the ability to inspire others. Vatican City is both a sanctuary and a beacon, reflecting humanity's highest aspirations while grounding them in tangible reality. The city teaches us that greatness can emerge from small beginnings, that beauty and meaning can coexist with duty and discipline, and that history is alive when it is preserved, respected, and engaged with purpose. Vatican City is a testament to what humans can achieve when imagination, belief, and commitment intersect. As you leave the imaginary streets, squares, and halls of Vatican City, carry with you the understanding that its wonder is not only in what you see, but in what it represents. The enduring power of faith, the timeless pursuit of knowledge and beauty, and the quiet strength of a civilization that has mastered the art of balancing past, present, and future. Vatican City is more than a destination. It is an experience that lingers, a story that continues, and a reminder that the smallest places can hold the greatest significance. The story of Vatican City reaches its deepest resonance when we consider not only its monuments, art, and spiritual significance, but the countless unseen threads that keep this extraordinary place alive. Beyond the grandeur of St. Peter's Basilica, the brilliance of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, and the immense halls of the Vatican Museums, there exists a hidden world of diligence, devotion, and daily perseverance. It is in this hidden dimension that the essence of Vatican City truly emerges, and where the enormity of its influence, spiritual, cultural, and intellectual, becomes tangible. Even within its tiny borders, Vatican City functions like a miniature society, intricately organized and disciplined. The Swiss Guard, instantly recognizable in their historical uniforms, embody both tradition and vigilance. Their role is more than ceremonial. They are entrusted with the sacred duty of protecting the Pope and ensuring the safety of the city-state's most important space. Every movement, every formation, and every ritual they perform carries a weight of history that stretches back nearly 5 centuries. Their presence is a living bridge between the past and present, reminding visitors that the city's continuity depends not only on its art and architecture, but on disciplined guardianship. Daily life inside the city is structured yet quietly human. Clergy, administrators, scholars, and maintenance staff all coexist within its compact borders, each contributing to the seamless operation of one of the most extraordinary nations in the world. Archivists meticulously catalog centuries of manuscripts, ensuring that every page remains preserved for future generations. Technicians maintain climate-controlled storage areas for fragile artworks, while security personnel monitor the labyrinthine corridors and entrances to protect these treasures. Every role, though invisible to most visitors, is crucial to sustaining the delicate ecosystem that Vatican City represents. The Vatican Gardens, often overlooked by tourists, illustrate another facet of this hidden life. Spanning nearly half the territory, these gardens are a sanctuary of calm, reflection, and spiritual contemplation. Carefully curated landscapes, fountains, and ancient trees create a rhythm of life that contrasts with the ceremonial bustle elsewhere. In the early morning, the gardens are nearly empty, yet alive with subtle movement. The rustle of leaves, the quiet flow of water, the occasional footsteps of gardeners tending to centuries-old flora. Here, faith and nature merge, and the city reveals its softer, contemplative side, demonstrating that influence is not always loud or visible. Sometimes it thrives in silence. The Vatican Apostolic Library and secret archives deepen this sense of hidden significance. Within climate-controlled rooms lie manuscripts, letters, and documents that predate the rise of modern nations. Some were written by philosophers, theologians, and leaders whose thoughts shaped the course of human history. Others record the Church's interaction with the wider world, decisions, negotiations, and chronicles that reveal the delicate diplomacy exercised over centuries. These archives do not merely preserve history. They are active instruments of continuity, ensuring that knowledge, wisdom, and lessons endure despite the passage of time and the upheavals of global events. Equally compelling is the human connection between these historical spaces and the contemporary world. Pilgrims and visitors bring personal stories, prayers, and aspirations, merging with centuries of accumulated faith and devotion. Standing beneath Michelangelo's masterpieces, or walking along the colonnades of St. Peter's Square, one senses that the impact of Vatican City is both collective and individual. It shapes global thought, while also touching the intimate spiritual experiences of millions. Yet Vatican City's significance is not only spiritual or cultural. Its global influence extends into diplomacy and moral guidance. The Pope's voice resonates worldwide, shaping discussions on peace, justice, human rights, and ethical responsibility. Statements delivered from this tiny city can reverberate through governments, media, and communities on every continent. It is a rare example of a place where the magnitude of influence is inversely proportional to its geographic size. A city that wields power through persuasion, morality, and symbolic authority rather than force. Architecture itself becomes a silent participant in this influence. The symmetry of St. Peter's Square, the soaring vaults of the Basilica, and the meticulous order of the museums are not merely aesthetic achievements. They communicate ideals, harmony, continuity, balance, and reverence. Every curve and line was designed to inspire, to guide perception, and to reinforce the spiritual mission of the city. Visitors often feel this influence subconsciously, as the space subtly shapes emotions, thoughts, and reflection. Vatican City's genius lies not only in what it displays, but in how it evokes a sense of humility, awe, and purpose. Even in moments of quiet, Vatican City is alive. Evening brings shadows along ancient walls, soft lighting along pathways, and the gentle hum of life continuing behind closed doors. The city's pulse is steady, composed of centuries-old tradition and meticulous care, proving that endurance is cultivated through constant attention and devotion. It is a place where the extraordinary depends on the ordinary, where monumental influence rests upon the quiet dedication of countless individuals. This second layer of understanding Vatican City reveals its most profound truth. It is both tangible and intangible, seen and unseen. The monuments, art, and architecture captivate, but the devotion, guardianship, and continuity sustain. Vatican City teaches that influence is not always measured by size or force. It can be nurtured quietly through knowledge, preservation, and disciplined care. It reminds us that the smallest spaces, when filled with purpose, can contain the greatest significance. Here, history, faith, and humanity converge, creating a city that is at once finite in size and infinite in impact. Vatican City is not merely a collection of buildings, artworks, or sacred spaces. It is a living organism, a microcosm where faith, history, art, and human endeavor converge. In understanding its final chapter, one begins to see that its influence is sustained not only through grandeur or symbolism, but through the invisible networks of responsibility, devotion, and purpose that operate quietly every day. It is this hidden life that allows Vatican City to endure as a center of spiritual authority and global cultural significance, despite its remarkably small geographic footprint. At the heart of this living city is the papal residence, the spiritual and administrative center of the Catholic Church. Here, the Pope carries a responsibility that reaches far beyond the walls of Vatican City. His decisions, messages, and gestures resonate across continents, influencing billions of lives. But the work here is not only ceremonial or public. Private audiences, meetings with diplomats, and careful deliberation over global issues form the core of daily life. The Pope is supported by a network of advisors, secretaries, and clergy who manage correspondence, research, and communication with the worldwide Church. Each decision reflects centuries of tradition and consideration, balancing spiritual guidance with practical implications. Beyond the residence, the Apostolic Palace contains corridors and chambers that are rarely seen by the public, yet their role is vital. They are spaces of governance, scholarship, and quiet reflection. Ancient manuscripts, sacred texts, and records of church history line hidden libraries, meticulously cataloged and preserved. Archivists and librarians work to protect these treasures against the threats of time, moisture, and human error. Their efforts ensure that knowledge and history remain accessible, bridging past generations with the present and future. Every page tells a story not only of faith, but of human civilization, diplomacy, and intellectual achievement. The daily rhythm of life in Vatican City combines the ordinary and extraordinary. Maintenance teams clean and restore artworks, gardeners tend to the centuries-old trees and fountains, and security ensures the safety of priceless artifacts and the people who protect them. Swiss guards, renowned for their colorful uniforms, move seamlessly between ceremonial display and serious protective duty. Every individual, whether visible to the public or operating behind the scenes, contributes to the seamless functioning of a city that symbolizes both temporal and spiritual authority. The extraordinary reputation of Vatican City rests on this ordinary diligence. Vatican City's spaces themselves reflect intentional design to harmonize human experience with spiritual reflection. Street Peter's Square, with its sweeping colonnades, is more than a gathering place. It is a physical representation of the Church, embracing the world. The layout guides visitors, preparing them for the experience of the Basilica and the spiritual resonance it conveys. Inside, every chapel, altar, and sacred relic carries layers of symbolism. Artworks are not decorative alone. They narrate theology, history, and morality. Michelangelo's ceiling in the Sistine Chapel, Raphael's frescoes, and Bernini's sculptural mastery combine to create a dialogue between humanity and the divine, a conversation that continues centuries after their creation. Yet beyond the grandeur, Vatican City's influence lies in its humanity. Pilgrims and visitors bring their own stories, hopes, and devotion, which merge with centuries of accumulated faith. Ordinary moments kneeling in prayer, pausing before a masterpiece, walking quietly through a corridor create a living connection across generations. This personal engagement is the essence of the city's enduring power. It is not only an institution, but a space where individual and collective experiences converge. Vatican City also embodies a balance between preservation and adaptation. While it safeguards historical treasures and centuries-old traditions, it embraces modern technology and communication to remain relevant in a changing world. Climate-controlled storage preserves manuscripts, digital archives expand accessibility, and carefully planned restoration projects maintain artworks for generations to come. Diplomacy, media outreach, and international engagement ensure that Vatican City's influence is not static but active, reaching across borders and cultures while remaining rooted in its foundational principles. The final understanding of Vatican City emerges when one realizes that its greatness is not measured by size, wealth, or political power alone. Its strength derives from the integration of vision, discipline, faith, and creativity. Monumental architecture, celebrated art, spiritual leadership, and meticulous stewardship create a city that is both tangible and symbolic, historical and contemporary, visible and hidden. The layers of its influence, artistic, spiritual, intellectual, and operational, interact seamlessly to form a single, enduring organism. As you leave the imagined streets, corridors, and sacred spaces of Vatican City, the impression is lasting. Its small geographic area contrasts sharply with its immense impact. Vatican City demonstrates that influence can be cultivated quietly, thoughtfully, and with enduring purpose. It shows that continuity, dedication, and vision can elevate a place into something timeless. Above all, it teaches that even the smallest spaces, when infused with belief, creativity, and responsibility, can shape the world in profound and lasting ways. Vatican City is more than a destination. It is a living testament to human achievement, faith, and stewardship. It is a reminder that true power often resides not in size, but in the capacity to preserve, inspire, and guide. Its story continues, inviting reflection, reverence, and engagement from all who enter, even for a fleeting moment. The city's influence is eternal, not because of its walls, but because of the vision, devotion, and humanity that inhabit it. As we step back from the majesty of Vatican City, it becomes clear that its true wonder lies not just in its monuments or masterpieces, but in the stories, devotion, and human spirit that sustain it. Every corridor, every chapel, and every work of art reflects centuries of faith, creativity, and purpose. This tiny city teaches us that influence is measured not by size, but by vision, endurance, and the ability to inspire generations. From St. Peter's soaring dome to the quiet paths of the gardens, Vatican City reminds us that even the smallest spaces can hold the greatest significance. Thank you for joining this journey. Immerse yourself, reflect, and let the story of Vatican City linger long after the video ends.